We need to talk mortgage rates at 7% plus. What does this mean for the mortgage industry? What does it mean for real estate? I don't know. It's probably not good. But we're going to have this conversation with Matt, the mortgage guy. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing right. The first thing I want to ask is my refi boom that I called 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, is it dead and gone? Has the wave of refinances died because rates are basically 100 basis points higher than they were 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, for the most part, like the rate and term refinances are dead and gone. What I think it did, which was valuable, was it showed people like this window opens and closes.
Yeah.
So if you've got a target rate and you want to refinance and it appears, you need to act. And like, I don't like to tell people told you so, or I don't like to be like, but in so many circumstances, it was exactly that. Listen, 6 1/4 saved you $400 a month. 6 1/4 had a break even of 10 months. We should have acted when we saw 6 1/4. Of course, human psychology is like, they're going down. It'll be 599 next month, and it'll be 575 the month after. It's not how it works. And so unfortunately, there's some people that like that extra $400 a month they're spending might be for the next 6 months. That's $2,400 that they're, paying that they didn't necessarily have to.
Dude, I'm actually fearful it might be 16 months.
Yeah, it might well be, because geez Louise, we've gone the other direction. In case you haven't noticed, folks, the 10-year treasury's at 4.2 and mortgage rates have gone in a straight line the wrong direction since the middle of September.
Yeah. So I actually think you're absolutely right. I think with this gyration from, going from 6, I think it went from like 6.6 to 6.1 to now 6.9. I do think that the next time this happens, I think the conversation will be, if you like it, lock it. I think that'll mean a lot more for people. But I'm actually legitimately starting to think that 2025 rates could be even higher than I was already high. I already thought they'd be 6.2. I'm now starting to think they might be like 6.6, 6.8. And I'm seriously starting to ask myself, what does that mean for the market? And
yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because, the honest truth for me is that I listen to so much different information, and I like to see both sides. I like to see stuff I agree with, stuff I don't agree with, to where right now I'm like, geez, I just listened to somebody who I like and respect, who's pretty smart, who's like, the government cannot, spend $1 trillion a year
on interest. Yeah.
On interest rates being this high. So 3% Fed funds rate, they're not going to stop there. They're going to go lower. They're going to bring it back to 0. We're going to see 3% mortgage rates again. I'm like, maybe that's possible. And then I see somebody else who says the rates are going to go the other way and we're going to see 8% again. Somewhere in the middle is probably where reality, lives. But it's one thing's for certain. You don't know what's going to happen with rates. They change every single day. And, if you want advice as a consumer, especially on the refinance game, talk to somebody before it's time and say, let's see where that target rate might be. I'm not the only one doing this. There's so many people in the mortgage industry that are like, they're setting up rate alerts. I've got technology through MBS Highway and other, CRM stuff that I'm using, where I can say, all right, Susie, at 6 1/4, it makes sense for you. All right, Adam, we need 5.99 for your scenario to make sense and break even. And so when it gets to that rate at that cost, that's when we act. And then, the work is done. And then all you have to do is press play the date that it becomes available, and you win, because I'm telling you, there's tons and tons of people that had the opportunity. They thought the window would be open forever and the door shut. And to your point, it might be 6 months. It might be 16 months. We don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the things. I had the greatmortgagebroker.com. I think that's great advice, folks. If you are contemplating a refinance, it's not the right time today. Do the work now so you know where to set up that alert. I think that is very wise advice. You get in the queue, you get an agreement, the number, and then you just go about your life. You don't stress. If you're out there thinking about a refinance and you don't do this, you're always thinking about it. It's just adding stress to your life. So get out there, do the prep work, and know for a fact. So great mortgage broker.
Real quick story, Mike. Josh and Eric. Shout out to Josh and Eric, ORAT followers. I like Eric's shtick. He says, best of both worlds. He's got a C and a K in his name. Did what I think people should do is, before it was time to refinance, what do you need for me to have a file ready? We collected updated pay stubs. We collected updated bank statements. We collected everything we needed to where when the rate appeared, boom, we refinanced $760,000 at a full % lower. Nice. Those guys are saving $500 a month. They're happy, right? And I remember the loan closed last week or the week before, talking to Josh and saying, good work on the timing. I didn't know at the time that the window was going to close, but I knew it made sense for them at that moment in time. So they prepared for the moment. They knew the number. When the number appeared, they pressed play and we started the loan and locked in the loan and closed the loan. And so be more like Josh and Eric. There
you go. Love that. Well, now let's switch gears from refi, which again, I think the refi boom is over at 7 or 8, whatever it is. But let's talk about purchase. I've already been screaming we're in a buyer's market for the last 8, 9, 10 weeks. Now that rates have gone up basically a point, I think this buyer's market's getting freaking nuts. I just talked to a guy, one of my professional guys down in Southern California, and he's having more phone calls from desperate sellers than he's ever had in the last 5 years. There are some people that must sell. And folks, if you're an investor, I keep telling you, buyer's markets are where motivated sellers live. They're always there, but this is where you can find them. So again, they're out there. Watch days on market, write disrespectful offers. He just told me about a house because he doesn't want to buy a lot of houses in Q4, but he just bought a house. It's Omar. This video comes out today at 5 o'clock, so it's no secret. He bought a house for 30% less than he would have bought it for a month ago. And the seller just had to be out. So they took a 30% discount on
there's $300K house. So much opportunity for buyers, Mike. And what I really love about my, proximity to real estate agents is I get real-time feedback every day. And I ask them on the phone yesterday with an agent, happens to be working with an ORAT buyer who got a great deal. And I said, how are things? Because agents work with buyers and sellers. And he goes, man, I've got 2 more listings coming on. I've got 4 that have just been sitting. And I said, with what's happened with rates, man, like it's getting colder. Even though I don't shed many tears for sellers, right? Because I'm on team buyer side. Yeah, right. My fear though, is that like sellers just don't know what they don't know. People in general are skeptical. So when an agent says, listen, I know your neighbor sold for $750 in April. In order to have your house sell in a timely fashion, we've got to go on at $679. We really do. Even the great agents who have the, confidence to say that, it doesn't always land. And they go, no, let's start at $769. I know one that's going on this Thursday across the street from my uncle. And I saw them do the flip. I saw them do the rehab work. I told my dad, they can't list this thing above 600. If they do, it's going to sit. They're going to list it at 665. I'm telling you right now, Mike, I'll eat my words, because I talked to another agent that was like, listen, if stuff's dialed in, people are willing to pay a premium. So you'd be surprised. I don't know. We're going to see, but the message is like, sellers, it's a whole different game than it was a 0.5% ago, a different, quarter of the year where there's more buyers. So if you list your home and all you hear is crickets and it feels a little bit cold, don't be surprised.
Yeah. And again, higher rates like this really hurt their entry-level first-time home buyer. I will agree. Maybe you get lucky with a dialed-in perfect home because you only need one buyer. I am most nervous for the houses that aren't perfect.
Right.
Because those are really going to sit. And then let's finally switch gears and close out with where the silver lining is, and that's for investors. Investors, I keep telling you, we don't care about cost of capital. As long as the cost of capital is the same for everyone, doesn't matter. We run our numbers. We write disrespectful offers. We follow up. And buyer's markets is where I've made most of my wealth, because I'm willing to write lots of offers and wait for that yes answer. So again, I think investors should be licking their chops the next 8 to 10 weeks, especially if we get 7% mortgage rates. Dude, if we get 7% mortgage rates in Q1, that's going to get interesting.
Right. Yeah. A little bit of sustained, higher interest rate, October, November, December, January, when it's already going to be slower in terms of
Yes.
buyers, is going to bode really well for investors. And, we've seen this movie before. What you're going to want to do as a buyer, write the offer at the number that makes sense to you.
Yep.
Not expecting to get accepted because it's only been on the market for 24 days or 28 days. And then come back in 2 weeks when it's 48 days on the market, 42 days. And all
then
of a
60
sudden,
days and then
like
70
you
days.
see the magic, like the tone just changes. And a lot of times what I've seen is offer goes out. I'm talking to agent. I'm talking to buyer. No, they told us they're not going to sell it for that low. 2 weeks later, the client calls me, hey, that agent reached out to my agent and said, you guys still interested? That's where you want to be in the game of real estate. You want to be being chased after, saying, bring me an offer. I can't do 2 mortgage payments. We got to sell this thing. Exactly. I'm already moved into my home in, Memphis, Tennessee, or wherever they relocated to. There's going to be opportunity. If you're not doing the daily work and you're not, in school talking to other investors and getting strategies and really playing the game, you might not see it. You might not see it, but, get around like-minded people, get in the school community. And I'm telling you, like, there's just going to be hundreds of examples of people winning. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah. I'm getting notes almost every day now about disrespectful offers being accepted, right? They're not quite closed yet, but I'm getting notes almost every day about, 30% off, 28% off, 22% off, and seller credits this, seller credits that. You're going to be doing a session in school, right? Don't you do the last Friday of the month? Is that this Friday?
Oh, let's do it.
Matt the Mortgage Guy goes live for an hour the last Friday of the month in school. Bring your mortgage quotes, bring your refi questions, whatever you want. He will be in school for an hour talking all things mortgage. It's always the last Friday of the month. So
special time this month. It's going to be at noon. I checked my calendar and I've got something going on in the morning. So noon Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern, live in school. Yeah, we can talk about, I'd love for people to share, their strategies in this market, what they're doing in terms of mortgage interest rates. And we had a lot of those good conversations last month where, DSCR versus conventional. Should I buy the rate down? Should I not? And the cool part is, like, I've got my pricing engine. We'll price stuff in real time and we'll say, yeah, 8.125 doesn't cost you anything, but you can get all the way to 7.6 on investment property for a half a point. You should probably do that. I don't know if you want to buy it down to 699 and spend 2 points, but those are the conversations that when you know the numbers, it gives you the confidence to go out there and write offers and act. It's scary investing in real estate if you haven't done the work. Do the work so you're confident and you feel good when you're out there submitting these offers. And then the best feeling ever, you get a postcard from Mike. You get to share it with your friends in school that you got yourself a great deal.
There you go. Again, folks, one of the things that's amazing about school is it's only 67 cents a day. You get the opportunity to interact with millionaires like Matt on a monthly basis. I'm in there a couple of times, and also our weekly conversations, plus 300 members now. So you get a lot of daily interactions. Join school. Just go to school.com, look up one rental at a time. And of course, go to greatmortgagebroker.com if you want to see what's going on in mortgage. Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Mike.